What's going on, guys? It's your boy G Rocket here, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you my NBA hot takes, and I want y'all to let me know in the comments which ones y'all agree with, which ones y'all don't agree with. Give me your own personal hot takes, and maybe you'll be featured in a future video. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. First is my first hot take is going to be Brunson will be a top 5 MVP candidate, and he should have been All NBA first team the last 3 years. The last 3 years, he has been All NBA second team, even though last year he was a top, not last year, the year before that, he was a top 5 MVP candidate, right? He was fifth in the MVP voting, but they still made him all NBA second team, even though, top 5, that means he's the fifth most valuable player in the league, but somehow he's not the fifth, he's not a top 5 player apparently for all NBA first team. Like he was all NBA second team. And I feel like he just gets disrespected year after year. Every year it's like, oh, he's a small guard. Like what can he really do? But it's like he carries his team every year. He carries them deeper and deeper into the playoffs. With this year, yeah, they had a lot of talent, but everyone was banged up. Cat had a knee injury and his hand, and then Josh Hart couldn't hit any shots at all. Basically, like essentially worthless in the Pacers series, and he pushed it on his back to 6 games. You know what I mean? The wings, OG and McHale were not hitting any threes, and like that's like their only job. Like just stand there, hit threes. Drive a little bit, put some pressure on the rim, and just open it up for everybody. And they weren't even really doing that. So I mean, Brunson has like so much pressure on him, and every year he just gets better and better. And they say, "Oh no, he's not a good passer." But every single season, he gets more and more assists. Like he almost averaged 8 assists for most of the year. He averaged like 7.7 assists, and it went down a little bit in the playoffs to like 7.3 or something because the ball was in his hands a lot less because he was trying to facilitate a lot more. Like he was giving it to other guys. The ball wasn't in his hand as much. It was Cat taking it up a lot more. Or he also didn't play some games, so when he came back, he was trying to make sure he was hot and he was locked in himself and not focusing on passing as much. But throughout most of the year, he was averaging almost 8 assists. So he is a really good passer, great offensive scorer. I mean, overall, just an amazing offensive player. I think he might be the best offensive player in the league besides Jokic and probably Luka. I think that he's a way better passer than Shea, way better downhill scorer than Shea. Shea only has a better mid range. I think that's the only thing that he's better at. And the ball is also in Shea's hand like way, way, way more. And Shea gets 10 of points of his 10 of his points off of just free throws. Not even saying he's a free throw merchant, right? I think that yes, he has the ball in his hand so much that it's such a high volume that like yeah, he's gonna have more free throws. But also he does flop and stuff like that. But sometimes he does actually get fouled. But I think Brunson's just continually been disrespected, and I think that he should definitely be top 5 MVP this year. I think that if he has another year where he's averaging high 20s, and he's averaging 7 assists, 4 rebounds, and their team's like a top 2 seed, then I don't see why he wouldn't be top 5 MVP. I mean, Tatum's going to be out of this one, so he should easily be able to slide into that fifth slot. And Luca, we'll see if Luca's going to be better this year, but I don't see how he doesn't get top 5. The next hot take I have is that the Pacers won't be a top 8 seed. I just think that losing Miles Turner and then Tyrese Halliburton's not going to be there. I don't know how hard Andrew Nemhard and Pascal Siakam are going to carry them. You know what I mean? And if either of them gets hurt, forget about it. Then their next best player is probably going to be like T.J. McConnell or like Matherin or something. You know what I mean? I feel like it's just you can't really just rely on these guys so much that there's not really anybody left on the team after you lost Miles Turner and you lost Halliburton's going to be out the whole year. So it's putting a lot of strain on, I feel like, Siakam and Andrew Nemhard, and they're going to have to play roles that they're not meant to play, as like the 1 and 2 when they're really the 2 and 3. So I feel like there definitely is a lot of reasons why they won't be, and I think that Miles Turner, they lost a lot of defense and they lost a lot of shooting. There's a lot of guys on that team that don't shoot great. McConnell doesn't shoot great. What's his name? Just a bunch of players on that team. Toppin isn't a great shooter. Like they have a lot of guys on that team that cannot shoot, and their two other centers cannot shoot at all. So I just don't know how they're gonna really function without him being able to shoot, without missing his shooting, and then Tyrese Halliburton's initiating and everything. I just don't see them being a top 8 seed. And there's a lot of teams in the East that also got a lot better. Although the East isn't like a juggernaut like the West, I still think that it is being like understated that there still is a lot of really solid teams. You know what I mean? Like, are they going to be better than New York? No. The Cavs, no. The Magic, no. The Hawks, no. The Sixers probably are better. You know what I mean? The Heat are probably better. The Pistons, you know what I mean? That's 7 teams right there. So what? Maybe they're the eight, but I don't know. There's probably another team I'm forgetting that could easily slot in there. The Bucks, yeah, the Bucks, yeah, the Bucks would probably be better than them. You got Giannis, right? So I just feel like um, yeah, it was a bad loss. They should have re-signed Miles Turner, and even if they use this year as like a gap year, I just don't see them being that good. Even the next year after that, because what like they're still not going to have a very good like starting center at all. And then what now? Like I feel like everyone's getting older. Like McConnell probably don't have a lot of good years left in McConnell, and you know I feel like Halliburton. How's Halliburton going to come back from the injury? Siakam's also going to be another year older. He's probably around 30 by now. So I mean, yeah, you don't have that much time. Like really, I mean, I think they're going to have a really good draft or really good free agency next year if they want to be competing again. So yeah, I just don't think that they'll be a top 8 seed. And then the last hot take that I have, this one, I mean, it's not that hot, but I just feel like there won't be an American MVP in the next 5 years, maybe 10, just because Jokic, Giannis, and Shea, like the three best players in the league right now, are all foreign, and it's like what I just don't see anybody else really winning it. Like what Anthony Edwards, I don't know, he can win an MVP, but I just don't see it. I mean, the Timberwolves are just not going to be probably a top 2 seed. They might be three, but they might even be 4 or 5. The West is just so stacked. So I just don't see Anthony Edwards winning it. Tatum off of an injury, and he's going to be a year older. You know what I mean? I don't see the Celtics aren't going to be good enough the next couple of years unless they do something major. But they just traded away their, two of their like 4 or 5 best players. So I don't see them being able to really make a much noise, much of a run. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really see. I mean, I would love to say Brunson could win it, but he just probably won't. There's other guys that are just gonna always average more points, and there's guys like Jokic and Luka that will probably average more assists too, just because the ball's weight is there in their hands so much. And that's the thing. Like I like the MVP award. I think it's a good award, but I feel like it kind of loses its point because it's always just going to be who averages the most points, who averages the most assists. It's not even about like whose team goes the farthest or like, what player actually has the most impact on the game. It just becomes a stat award because there's obviously teams like Jokic, every year that there's nobody on that team that can do anything really. Like Jamal Murray can ball handle a little bit, but he's not a great passer. You know what I mean? Michael Porter Jr. is definitely not passing the ball. And then, Aaron Gordon's just a dunker spot, and then it's what Christian Braun's just a shooter. So yeah, the ball's in his hands so much that of course, it's gonna always, gonna be on him to get all the assists, to get all the rebounds because there's no one else really that big on that team that's a great rebounder. And also they have to play so much. They have to do so much to carry that team. So I feel like if it's just a great player on a bad team and that is just getting the most workload, so they're gonna have the best stats, that's not what the MVP should be. The MVP should be best player and that is not just by stats, but overall the player that that is the most valuable to their team. That if they lose this player, their team is going to be in shambles. And I feel like a player like Brunson will fit that way more. A player like Anthony Edwards, guys that get up a ton of shots, guys that make a ton of shots, guys that are efficient, and then guys that are like on good teams, but like teams that like if they take them out, they're going to be really not great around them. You know what I mean? And it's not just guys that just completely carry the team, but it's like guys that are so important to the system. Like there's a lot of teams like Shea. If you take Shea off, that team's still gonna be a great team because they have so much talent there. But even a team like the Knicks, yes, they have a lot of talent, but Brunson is their engine. Like you can't have an engine without Brunson. You know what I mean? So I feel like him and even Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is an engine. Like he just puts the pressure on the rim, and then now he's been shooting a lot of threes last season, so you can't really stop him. Same with Tatum, like versatile players. Those are the ones that I feel like should be winning the MVP, not the guys that are just on the kind of like mediocre teams and they just completely carry them because the ball's in their hands so much that they have the chance to rack up like the most stats. I feel like that they shouldn't win it. But yeah, that's about it for y'all. Um, I hope y'all could just like, comment, share, and subscribe. Y'all been showing some good support so far, but I want to keep growing. I think this community can, reach great heights. And yeah, I just want to see y'all continue to support. It really means a lot to me. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video.